Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce just got married, and yes, the air conditioner was on. Sorry, Mum Donnie. But guess what else, folks? We're now finding out what the security was for the event. We're learning about the prenups and all of the financial agreements involved. And I have to say, after hearing about all of it, and yes, we'll go through it, I gotta say, maybe celebrities should just say, screw it. It seems like being famous is simply too high a cost. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, welcome back yet again, and bienvenidos to the Pro Channel, where we continue to send the Holly Weirds through the spin cycle of truth and veracity. As we dive in today, all you need to do is click that like button, a PhD level of understanding into what's really going on in entertainment, and not a single penny nor a dime required. There's no tuition, for you're on scholarship right here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at this. T-Swift is doing the prenups. The marriage is, well, we would assume it's all wrapped up. It's been, we won't even talk about that, but just here you go. Out of the Times of India, Taylor Swift forces Travis to sign a 40-page prenuptial agreement. Vile prenup claim involving a $20 million infidelity clause sets social media ablaze. Says Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding has quickly become the center of another online discussion, this time over claims surrounding a reported prenuptial agreement. A social media post from a best-selling author alleging the couple signed a detailed 40-page prenup with a multi-million-dollar infidelity clause has gone viral. You can see down here Buzz Patterson saying Taylor Swift forces Travis to sign a 40-page prenup, and if he cheats on her, it's $20 million per violation. Now, I kind of doubt this a little bit, and I'll tell you why. It could be true, okay? And I don't want to throw shade at Buzz Patterson. Maybe he knows exactly what's up. But if you charge your spouse $20 million per violation of cheating on you, which, by the way, I think one is enough, but in most cases, but $20 million, isn't that coming from your bank account? Like, I guess they could have separate bank accounts. Maybe. I don't know how this works. But anyway, there's a lot more to this. This wedding was a big, big deal. And the way they're doing this, it makes you wonder, do you even want to be a celebrity? Do you even want to be famous? Is it a curse? Is T-Swift, Taylor, is she cursed right now? Tears on her guitar because of how far she's made it in this world. Take a look at some of this stuff. Jason Pham writing this for Stylecaster. Taylor Swift's prenup details exposed after report her dad made sure to protect her fortune from Travis Kelce. It says Taylor's publicist Tree Payne, sorry to hear you're in pain, also confirmed the news with a press release revealing that she and Travis both wore looks by Christian Dior, Kocho, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we don't need that. We need the prenups. Let's get to it. It says, Rob Shooter confirmed in his Naughty But Nice Substack that Taylor and Travis signed a prenup before their wedding that was overseen by Taylor's father, Scott Swift, who previously worked as a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch. It goes on to say it's the father is watching over her. He's super sharp. Taylor's net worth is $2 billion, according to Forbes, while Travis's is only $90 million. Only $90 million. What a plebe. When you're dealing with nearly $2 billion in combined assets, a prenup isn't a sign of mistrust, the insider said. It's smart business. The source also revealed that Travis was in support of Scott's terms. Travis respects her dad tremendously. He understands that Scott helped build one of the most successful entertainment brands in history. There was never any drama and never any pushback. The source continued, Taylor has romance in her heart. Scott has business in his head. Prenup isn't about preparing for failure. It's about protecting everything they've built. Okay, sure, whatever. There's so many houses involved. The prenup could have been done in many different places, and it was strategies about where it was going to be. California, Rhode Island, Missouri, Kansas, Tennessee, New York. I think right now the leading contenders are either Rhode Island or Tennessee. What a strange thing, right? That this was part of the whole marriage lead up, was trying to figure out which state would give us the best prenup advantage if things go sideways. But that's not all. And I'll finish this here because a lot of people want to be famous. A lot of people want to be a movie star. They think they do. They want to be, on stage and people coming to see them play songs. And I'm not sure that being as famous as Taylor Swift is good anymore. And here's why. To get to this wedding, right? This wedding that was heavily criticized. It became a political thing. You had Mum Donnie, waging war on air conditioning and all this kind of stuff. Married at Madison Square Garden. It says at 4 a.m., this is out of BuzzFeed, at 4 a.m. on the morning of the wedding, guests reportedly received a QR code with the exact driving route, with a source claiming that if you deviated from the route, the car would not be recognized and thus you could not get into Madison Square Garden with the thousands of other wedding guests. Listen to this. Once inside, guests allegedly had their phones confiscated. before finding embroidered handkerchiefs on their seats bearing the couple's initials, wedding location, and the lyrics, "So It's Gonna Be Forever," from Taylor's song, Blank Space. So not only did you have to use this QR code to drive in, not only did you have to be part of this thing that is already politicized and people are angry, how dare you have air conditioning, etc., but then you had to have your phone confiscated. Like, the level of security here, the level of contractual obligations when it comes to the finances, the security measures, not only for physical safety, but also for making sure Taylor Swift's, business is not bankrupted by something dumb that Travis might do. Christian, I'm not sure people need or want to be famous anymore. Like, and maybe there's a level of that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Like, maybe there's a level of fame that when you cross it, it's actually disadvantageous. Because when I hear about this, I kind of think, this sounds like a jail. Taylor Swift can't go to the grocery store. She has to be snuck into concerts in a box. And I get it. She's worth $2 billion, but is it worth it to have these houses? And yet all of this, instead of just having, what I think most ladies would really want, which is far less security in multiple different domains. What are your thoughts on this?
It's a fascinating question. And first of all, so few celebrities who reach this elite level ever backpedal, ever downsize, ever say, listen, I'm stepping away. I've lived this fame. I understand it. I wanted it at one point in my life, but I don't want it anymore. I want to just be a regular person. You very rarely see that. So it's so interesting that they, even if they understand the pitfalls, they never reject it.
The one, Christian, that I can think of, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the only one that I can think of, and maybe there are more, and it wasn't at this level, but Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis literally just disappeared.
Yeah. There are a couple examples, and that's a great one, but it really is an extreme exception. Imagine a $20 million roll in the hay. It must have been amazing. So, I mean, I think about that sometimes. Was it worth it? That kind of a thing. And also canoodling. Does that count for the 20 million penalty? I don't know.
Right. Like can you imagine being the lawyer? Can you imagine being the dad and you're writing out, okay, exactly what does this mean for the $20 million, Dad? Yeah. About your daughter and your stepson and what they're going to be like, the degrees to which he may be able to do that,
if Mr. Kelsey, our client, Netflix and chilled with a woman, is that enough?
Right.
I often think about fame from this perspective. Two things. One, I would like to be a little more famous because it would have a financial boost for me. And then I'd like to cut it off. You think about Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro for years and years has had a security team.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro is a slight man who doesn't do anything wrong. He just has opinions. You may hate them. That's fine. He needs a security team.
That's right.
He wears a bulletproof vest sometimes. I mean, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And also, I think if you're a Tom Hanks, you literally can't step out of your house without being reminded you're Tom Hanks. You go to Starbucks, you've got 20 people looking at you everywhere you go. Now, with Tom Hanks, most of it's affable and sweet. And, oh, I love you, Tom Hanks. Can I take your picture? Imagine how exhausting that might be, even in the best situations.
Let me ask you about that. Because, I think that actually even changes. So if you've been living that way for decades, I think it changes the entire psyche that you must walk through the world with, Christian, because so not only do I think it's actually not good, right? Because I think you need to be able to go to the grocery store. Like, I think that's important. I think you need to be able to just live life. Like, you have to be able to cut it off to some point. But also, if people do that for you all the time, right? There was a story about when it was Prince Charles instead of King Charles, that he had and I'm not saying this to be negative about the Queen, I'm talking about him as a person only, that he had an item in the wastebasket and he called for his servant to come to pick the item out of the wastebasket, not because he was being a jerk, but because he had lived in such a way that he literally did not think in his head, I can pick that out of the wastebasket and just set it up on my desk.
Yeah.
And I think that for celebrities, one of the reasons they don't understand how to handle the public is because they are living in such a way that it has warped their sense of reality. It has changed the way that they perceive themselves, and it's not good. It's quasi-pathological.
Yeah. I have one last thing to say because I want to share with my colleagues here. I could talk forever on this subject, but
I wish you would. I love it.
No, there's a movie a year or two ago called Jay Kelly. It's George Clooney kind of playing himself, and he's finding out the pitfalls of fame. He's lost contact with his daughter. He's realizing that his lovely celebrity life has some real drawbacks, and he's having a heart-to-heart with his helper, who's played by Adam Sandler. They're going back and forth. And George Clooney's basically saying, I just want to be a regular person. I just want to have that life. I regret the life I have now. And then I think Adam Sandler's character asks him to do a very simple task. And George Clooney looks at him like, oh no, I'm a celebrity. I don't do that. You do that. So even in the midst of this whole mea culpa, I regret my life, I should be a regular person, he's so programmed to be above it all that he shoots his old friend a look like, no, you do that. And I think that's where the star is today. And
I want to say this too, marriage is hard. Marriage is incredibly hard, and people are very messy, and good people who work very, very hard. I mean, like to the maximum of their soul, like they give everything. And sometimes things don't work. And we know that, we understand that, right? And that's part of the human experience. At the same time, Culture, when we look at this situation with Taylor Swift, I don't ever want to be in a relationship where I've got a monetary value assigned to if my significant other decides to make someone else be significant for the night over, this is the financial amount that's going to cost them. Like, I think that warps everything. I think it warps everything about the relationship.
Well, I don't think infidelity has a price tag. And I think that boiling it down to that point is what this style of prenuptial agreement is. And I don't favor that. I mean, Travis Kelce's fairly wealthy, but nothing compared to, Taylor. And look, if this is a negotiation between parties that's treated more like a business operation, that's kind of what this seems like, rather than like romantic love. And maybe that's all, both of these people are capable of. And maybe I won't be as judgmental as I normally would be, because I'm like, if you don't have romantic love, then what are you doing?
Well, I'm not trying to take that away from them. I'm just saying, like, right. There are, everybody wants to be famous, or at least a lot of people do. Everybody wants to be a quadrillionaire. And it's like, yeah, but you also get, you have to have all this extra security and secretivity, and how you're brought into places, you can't be in the public. You got these extra rules. Like, it's plenty hard enough to be married in the first place. But now you got this, your father's trying to protect the $2 billion business that's involved in it. It's like,
the problem of being famous or notable in society is that it comes with the constant responsibility. And I mentioned it in a previous segment, that you are always under public scrutiny. You always have to be on stage, right? It's one of the rules at Disneyland or in the Disney community. If you're on stage, you have to act like you're on stage. So
it's also totally unnatural. Right.
No,
we're not biologically or psychologically made for this, because we come from a world, right? We're genetically designed for a world where you know 50 people, 100 people in your tribe. Well, and so the idea, and this is what catches people like Rachel Zegler, right? Not to go off on a tangent, but this is what catches people off guard about this sort of thing is we were never designed for this kind of scope and scale. I think about the I don't want to say her name on the thing, but the young lady whose claim to fame was Hawk. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Hawk Girl, right?
Yeah.
She was unprepared in every possible way, as most humans would be, to suddenly be that famous, because we're not designed for that. We're not designed to have millions of people. And it takes a very unique person to handle that.
Well, I mean, again, somebody who can do that on camera publicly, shamelessly, that's not something to become notable for. The notoriety that came along with that essentially took somebody who wasn't meant to be famous, put them in a position where other people would follow whatever their suggestions were, and got themselves caught up in a cryptocurrency scandal.
Sure.
Pump and dump that she wasn't prepared for. But that's the other problem, is it's the same reason that we talk about, these young people like Rachel Zegler, you mentioned appropriately, somebody who has not been coached by a media professional, somebody who like their agent hasn't prepared them for this. And this is where I'm going to say, if you're an agent out there, media coaching is an absolute must for anybody you handle. If you're not doing that, you're not living up to your responsibility as an agent.
Well, and the corporations, the studios should be assigning handlers to these people.
Not only that, they should definitely be managing that person's time behind the scenes. You need to have a handler that directs your schedule so that you are in the right place at the right time, for the advantage of not just the person that you're working with, but for the project that they're associated with for you. And this is something Disney abandoned long ago. In fact, when the studio system started to fall apart, and I think Christian can probably talk more intelligently about this, or Lou Wasserman's Ghost can, when the studio started to fall apart, they lost control of the mechanisms that created stars. Now we don't even create stars. Stars are born out of somewhere they've never been born before. They can come out of the public. We watched Back Rooms, and this Indy Navarrete, right? She's going to be world famous now because of her performance in a horror film, Obsession, that everybody just raves about left and right. And she's not unattractive. She's conventionally attractive. And I have a feeling that she's been recently rumored to be in talks with not just Marvel, but other major projects. Do I think that's likely to happen? Yes, because she has something intangible that Hollywood stopped being able to create. And so all of these people, including folks like Taylor Swift, who was a manufactured product, but Travis Kelce works. She's
very talented, though. I mean, she's extraordinarily talented. We don't take that from her.
I'm not. I'm just saying she was a manufactured product. It's like anybody who came out of
Keith Urban signed her when she was like 14,
or the Disney kids. Think of all the Disney kids like Britney Spears and many others that became famous because they were a manufactured product.
They destroyed Britney Spears.
Yes, but it's not taking away their talent. I'm not taking away anything. I'm just saying they were treated as the product they were. Same thing with Travis Kelce, phenomenal athlete, incredible performance, and he was coached his entire life to be what he is. And look, it's you can take those lessons away from those lives, and you can boil it down to 10,000 hours or whatever the book said that you're supposed to do. But you're coached along the way to be better. And this is why Taylor doesn't have the same kind of media faux pas. That's why Travis Kelce doesn't have them. If you're a baseball player, one of the first things they teach you how to do is an interview. You're in AA ball, you're in bus leagues, whatever. You have somebody talking to you every day, probably your manager, about how you handle, your last pitching outing when you talk to this idiot in the press that's going to be asking you questions. And so, like you said, we live in a world where the people who should be responsible for you are sending you out to the wolves every day. And that results in what happened with Rachel Zegler and many other starlets in Hollywood, especially at a time when the media is driving the questioning with people like Malkin and many others that are just they're fishing for rage bait. That's all they do. And the questions aren't designed to, ask about the project or their thoughts about the performance. They're designed around the political garbage that's going on today. And that's insulting.
Let me bounce that back to Christian, then we'll go to Ron. Christian, what do you think is the optimal for you, at least? I mean, everybody's going to be different, but, we got all these teenagers who they want to be. I mean, they're working every day to be superstars, and they get on their Instagram, their TikTok, and they're making this kind of stuff. And I mean, it's not a small number, right? And every day that we do the show here, I mean, I am not ignorant of just how amazingly blessed and fortunate we are, and we work very hard. But I get this is an incredibly difficult job, but I don't want to be famous. I literally don't. The ideas and ideals that we carry here, this is why we do this. What do you think is the optimal level of fame that people can handle, most people, before you get to the point that this is too much?
Oh gosh, I mean, I think from a wealth point of view, where you could basically do almost anything and get away with it, I think that's a warning sign where you don't have to kind of be careful with your money. And then when strangers start treating you in different ways, or even family members start treating you in radically different ways,
right,
where they don't see you as a sister or a brother or a husband or this, they see you as the brand.
Vector of opportunity.
I think that's, there are people who are super famous who handle it well. Tom Hanks has been famous. I keep mentioning him, but he hasn't been involved in scandals and this and that. He seems like a fairly decent human being. Is he quirky? Perhaps. I don't know. I interviewed him once. He kind of barked at me a little bit over a question, but it was not exactly outrageous. And he just got a little grumpy with me. So what? So, I mean, I think there are people who really do navigate it well. And Matthew McConaughey seems like a grounded soul.
Sure.
So I think it can be done for sure. It's been done for a long time, but it makes you a little weird. it can't, you can't help but be a little weird when you're that famous. That's not even a negative. It just is.
I got to ask you, did you ever talk to Denzel Washington? Because he seems like the most even keel guy out there in Hollywood.
Yeah, no, I did a premiere where he was at, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him. So he's one of the no race reference here, but kind of one of my great white whales, one I'd love to chat with, but I haven't.
So Ron, I'll toss it to you. I think when it comes to fame and when it comes to, people want to be like Taylor Swift, and then you find out, well, just imagine, all the ups and downs that comes with everything she's trying to be and do. She's watched all the time. Everybody knows what she's up to. Everything is run through marketing and PR, et cetera, et cetera. There's security everywhere. She doesn't get to be, fully, totally human. Ron, it seems to me that fame and celebrity, that it scales everything. Like everything gets scaled. Yeah. And it takes a special person to be able to handle that, and not everybody can. And so as I look at this, Ron, I just think, there's got to be a point where I think as you scale that out, if you're going to be more and more and more famous like Taylor Swift, and we wish her and Travis the very best. We want them to have kids and a family and just have the happily ever after forever and ever. We would love that. That's not how it works, but you have at that. It's a challenge, right? But Ron, I think that the celebrity, what would you say? The celebrity worship, right? Culture was talking about this. This is a really long question for you, but Culture was talking about movie stars, okay? In the past, let's say in the era of like Shirley Temple, who she had troubles as well, but the movie stars had a division. Movie stars, they were called stars because there was something you gazed upon, there was something you looked up to, but you didn't know what they were eating that day. Social media changed all that. And so, Ron, the thing that I consider is, now if you're going to be ultra famous, if that's what you're aiming for in life, and maybe some people are, I think that you are accepting self-imprisonment to some level, to some degree. Like you don't get to have this. And this is the message, I guess, from the Taylor Swift wedding. There is a very high cost to this. And you may decide it's worth it. And maybe people want it. But there is a tremendous cost involved. You don't get to have this for free. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, you think about, this is the reason that when I think about politics, why I've never wanted to be a politician, I've never aspired to be anything like president of the United States, whether it's not because of a wheelhouse or anything like that. It's just because I can't even imagine, like, first of all, the kind of person that you'd have to be to even want to be president of the United States, because you are trapping yourself in a very particular prison, no matter how much quote unquote power you have. There's a level of fame that I think about a post that I saw the other day by Kat Dennings. I think her level of fame might be pretty good because she's very not aware of how famous she is. She was talking about being in Disneyland and how people were coming up to her in the Marvel
Avengers
area,
campus.
Yeah, the Avengers campus. And they were asking for her autograph, not as Kat Dennings, but because she was Darcy. She had forgotten that she played Darcy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and people thought that she was cosplaying like her character. But it's just a really, really funny thing when you think about that. I think Bill O'Reilly did a great breakdown in his book, Killing the Legends, of the exact thing you talked about, the prison of being a celebrity. So there's a price of fame, especially to that certain extent. And, people have walked away from it. Our good friend Dean Cain walked away from fame at a time when he had been offered millions for a particular project and walked away from it so that he could keep the custody of his son. And Rick Moranis, so that he could take care of his children. And it hasn't been a lot. Most people would, still run after that fame. But in Taylor Swift's particular case, when it comes to asking, $20 million per, she's very, very hypocritical. And let me explain why. She has taught everybody else that they're supposed to just shake it off.
It's the honeymoon period. We were supposed to be nice to T Swift for like a month. Okay,
shake it off. Just
shake it off. Shake it off.
And I'm also wondering, because I don't think we know all the details of the prenup. Did Travis Kelce, is he going to get anything out of all the songs that she writes about him when they break up? Because
that's actually real, because there is, according to the leak, is it true or not? We don't know. But according to the leak, there is a clause in the prenups that says that they're not allowed to, if they divorce, to talk about the wedding. And there is question about, well, does that mean she can't write songs about it? I hope that never happens. Of course, folks, we know it's a challenge all the time. Christian, I want to give you the final word on this, because it just occurred to me, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, waxing philosophical on this. So one of the biggest fears that people have is public speaking. I mean, it's like way up there. I mean, people are as afraid of public speaking as they are of death. If you look at the clinical literature, the psychological literature, it's amazing. And it's to such a degree that one of the punishments that went away, right? I mean, you go back to medieval times and you'll come up with all kinds of just like, you can't believe anybody ever invented this or that they would ever torture people in this way. And one of them is the stockades. So at the same time, people were like doing these crazy ways of torturing you. The other one was, oh, by the way, instead of mutilating you or, shoving this red hot poker or, what if we just put your head in your hands and make people laugh at you as you walk by, and people are like, oh, don't do that. Don't give me the stock. So, Christian, what does it mean that one of the greatest fears is public humiliation, shame, speaking and messing up in front of people, and at the same time, one of the greatest dreams is to be famous, which puts you in the place where that's most likely to happen? What the heck is going on in the human psyche that happens?
Introvert versus extrovert. Yeah, it's a really interesting point. And it's so universal what you're talking about. Gosh, I mean, I'd have to really kind of think on that one. But I think what I find the most interesting about the whole Taylor Swift thing is that Kocho was mentioning she's manufactured. I don't disagree. I think it's very well said, because she's been building and sculpting this career to where it is now. There have been, steps along the way. When she got political, for example, that was another step in her evolution. And I can't imagine being this famous. And you get the sense, and we don't know her personally, I get the sense that she's going to do everything humanly possible to not just stay at this level, but go even higher.
Sure.
And that fascinates me. Like all the downfalls of fame and all the, I can't walk out of my house and I've got security and I've got this, and I've got this prenup, which is as thick as a phone book of yore. And yet she's going to fight and claw to keep that and to make it bigger. I think that's the most fascinating part of her story.
You think she's watched the Michael movie that came out this year?
Who has? I think I'm the only person who missed it, but...
Oh, Christian, we're going to fix that. When you stick around for the entire video, it really does help the channel. And we're so appreciative of that, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine that you would stick around and hear everything we have to say. The studio is glistening because you're listening each and every day. If you're not yet subscribed, well, you should be. And click that like button. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.